Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Before diving into the video, let me tell you why you can prefer my web development playlist. Unlike typical YouTube playlists, this one includes MCQs and assignments just like a real course. I hope you got the idea. Let's dive into the video.
In today's video, we are going to build your first website from scratch using just HTML and CSS. No coding experience is needed. Let's get started. To build websites, we should learn HTML. HTML is a tool used to build websites. To write HTML code, we use tags. Now let's learn few tags in HTML which we use regularly. The first one is heading, used to write headings. Then paragraph tag, used to write paragraphs. The last one is button, used to create buttons. In this video, we are going to build this page. Let's observe the various components available in this page. Can you guess the components present in this page? If you can't, no problem. You are a beginner. Now let's identify the components present in this page. The first one is image element, then the heading, then we have a paragraph. The last one is button. Now let's understand the structure of an HTML element. It contains a start tag, an end tag. In between these tags, we can write the content which we want to display in the websites. I hope you are ready with the basics. Now let's build your first website. To build websites, we need VS Code. So let's download it. To download it, open your browser, then search VS Code download. Click on the first link, then download the VS Code according to your OS. After downloading, install it by following instructions. Now open File Manager, then create a new folder where you want and name it as HTML. Then open VS Code which you have downloaded. The interface will look like this. Click on open folder, then open the folder which you have created just now. Now create a new file in this folder, name it as make sure this file ends with .html. This tells the computer that this belongs to HTML code. Let's learn to write HTML code. This is the basic structure of HTML code. It has doc type which basically describes to the browser that this is an HTML document. We will learn these tags later. Now we will write all our code inside this body tag. If we observe the page which we want to develop, had an heading, paragraph and button. Now let's add heading tag first. As we have discussed, each element contains opening tag, closing tag. In between these tags, we will write the content. I am giving the heading as food. Then add paragraph. To add a paragraph, open paragraph tag. Automatically closing tag will be created. In between these tags, we will write paragraph. I am writing tasty and delicious. In this way, add button. I will name it as let's eat. To run this code, click on run, then click on run without debugging. This is the website we have created. Now let's move this text into the center. To do this, we need CSS. Full form of CSS is cascading style sheets. This is the basic structure of CSS. We have to accept it. Here selector is a name. We will give to this properties. It can be anything, and properties are nothing but text align, font size, color, etc. And here value is the value we will give to these properties. Don't worry about all these things. You will get clarity while writing the code. So let's write the code. Now let's create a new file for CSS. Name it as style.css. Make sure it will end with .css. Let's write the CSS to move text into the center. Let h center is selector. Selector should start with dot. This is the syntax of CSS. We need to accept it. Then open flower braces. Our agenda is to move text into the center. So let's use the text align property. Value is center because we want to move the text into the center. If you observe, there is a dot here. It means we didn't save the code. Click Ctrl S to save the code. To apply this CSS to HTML which we have written already, we have to link it to the HTML file. We use this to link the CSS to HTML. Don't worry about this. You will learn it later. For now, here we have to give our CSS file name, which is style.css. Now we have to call the selector to move the text into the center. To call the selector, we use attribute. This is the syntax to use the attribute. There are multiple different types of attributes. Here we use class and its value is the name of the selector. In the opening tag, we write attribute and its value. So in the heading, we will write class is equal to our selector name hcenter. Let's run the code. To run this code, click on run, then run without debugging. If you observe, heading is moved into the center. In this way, let's move paragraph and button into the center. So in the opening tag of paragraph, write class is equal to center. Make sure this center is enclosed with double quotes. Let's run the code. Here paragraph also moved into the center. In this way we can move button into the center, but it will be repetitive to write this class is equal to center again and again. So we will wrap all these elements into a single element. Then we can move all these together. To wrap these elements, we use a tag called div. This div tag is used to wrap the elements like how we wrap all our things in a bag. Now let's call the selector. Class is equal to center. Let's run the code. Yes, all the elements are moved into the center.
Now let's add colors to these HTML elements. This is the syntax to add colors. Here heading is our selector, property is color and value is blue. As we have discussed, selector should start with dot and property should be followed by colon, value and semicolon. Now let's write this code in VS Code. In the last video we wrote this code. Now let's write code to add color to the heading. Our selector name is heading. The property we use is color, value is blue. Click Ctrl S to save the code. Now let's apply CSS to HTML using class attribute. Its value is name of our selector, heading. Save the code. Click on run without debugging. If you observe, color of our heading is changed to blue. In the similar way, let's change the color of our paragraph. This is a syntax to change the color of paragraph. Our selector name is paragraph. It can be anything. You can name it as your wish. And the property is color. Its value is blue. Now let's try the code. Go to CSS. Selector should start with dot. I am giving paragraph as our selector name. We are using color property because we need to change the color. I am giving red as the value. Let's apply this to paragraph element. Use class attribute. Its value is name of the selector. Name of the selector is paragraph. Save it. Let's run the code. The color of our paragraph element is changed to red. There is another way to run the code easily. For that, we need to go to extensions, search live server, then click on first one and install it. I already installed, so I keep it as it is. Now come back. To run this easily, right click on HTML file, open with live server. We got the output. In this way we can run our code easily. Now let's add color to button element dot button floor braces. For button we can give two colors. One is for text on the button and one is for the background color of the button. To give color to the text of the button, we use color property. I am giving white as the value. To give color to the background of the button, we use property called background color. I am giving its value as green. Show the code. Now let's apply this to button element. Use class attribute. Give the name of our selector button. Save it. To run this, right click on the HTML file. Open with live server. Yeah, we got our required output. The text of our button is changed to white and its background changed to green. Now let's achieve this output. To achieve this output, what should we do? Simple. Just apply the background color property to the div element in which all these elements are wrapped. Now let's write the code to achieve this output. Open VS Code. If you observe here, in our previous code, we already applied a rule set to this div element. So let's add the background color property to this rule set. Go to CSS. The rule set which we have applied to div element, add property called background color. I am giving its value as gray. You can give any color which you want. Click Ctrl S to save it. It will be repetitive to click Ctrl S again and again. So let's turn on auto save in VS Code. Click on file, scroll down, click on auto save. Now our code will be saved automatically. Now let's run this code. Right click on HTML file, open it, live server. See, we got our required output. Now let's see some more properties to style our text. If you observe different websites, you will notice that the text is styled attractively to improve the appearance of the website. They use different fonts, different sizes and different styles. So now let's learn how to achieve such styles. These are some CSS properties used to style the text. Font family is used to apply different types of fonts to the text. There are many font families are available to style the text like sans serif, Korean New, Impact. You can observe the difference in appearance of the text when different fonts are applied. Font style is used to make the text italic or slanted. Font weight makes the text thicker or thinner. We use a value called bold to make the text thicker. Now let's see font size. As the name itself suggests, it is used to change the size of the text. See here, when I give 20px as the value, font looks little bit smaller. When I increased the value, the size of our text is also increased. In this way, with the help of font size property, we can increase the size of our text. Here px is nothing but pixels. Pixel is used to measure the text size. But what is pixel? Pixel is the smallest measuring unit of a display screen. Now the last one, text decoration. It is used to decorate our text with lines. Based on the value, line will decorate the text. If we give line through as the value, it will pass through the text. When we give underline, it will underline the text. Now let's apply all these properties in the code. Go to CSS. First, I will apply font family to the heading. Font hyphen family followed by colon. I am giving impact as value. We don't need to save the code because we have turned on auto save mode. Observe here, we changed the font family of our heading. The similar way, let's change the font of paragraph. It's giving a suggestion. To accept it, click tab. Now let's run and see. We can notice the font change when we observe closely. Let's try font style property on paragraph element. As I said, to accept the suggestion, click on tab. To reject, click on escape. Or when we type, it will go. But I clicked escape to show you. Now type font hyphen style. I am giving italic as value. Let's see the output. Yeah, the text of our paragraph is tilted. Now apply font weight to paragraph, giving bold as value. As well as apply font size also. I am giving 25px. You can give your required size. Let's run the code. Yeah, text size of our paragraph is increased. I will apply text decoration to heading. I am giving underline as the value. Let's run the code. See, we got a underline to the heading. We can give line through. We got a line through it. Observe closely. Let's try another value. over line. Run it. Here we got a line over heading. On paragraph, let's try another font family. Courier new. For the font families, we need to enclose the font families which have more than one word. Let's run the code. The paragraph's font family is changed. Some font families won't exist in our system by default, like I will show you a font family called Roboto. See, heading is changed into default font. A font called Roboto is not applied to it. To apply these kind of font families, we need to import or download them from an external source. So open your browser, search for browse fonts, click on the first link, search for the font family you want. I'm searching Roboto. Click on the required result. Now you will see a button named as get font. Click on it. Then click on get embed code. Scroll down, copy this code. Place it inside the head section. Now let's run the code and see the output. See, when we run the code without that imported code, heading changed to its default font. When we included that code, it is changed to the Roboto font family. Again, let's check by removing this code. Run it. See, font is changed again. In this way, we can import our required font families code. Let's recap what we have learned today. We have applied background color to these elements and learned different CSS properties to style the text like font family, font style, font weight, font size and text decoration. In the next video, we will discuss about different types of CSS. Keep learning, keep growing. Meet you in the next one. Now let's move on and learn about different types of CSS. There are three types of CSS: inline, internal and external CSS. Let's start with inline CSS. In inline CSS, we apply styles directly to an HTML element using style attribute in the opening tag of an element. This is the syntax to use attribute which we have discussed in our previous videos. In the place of attribute, we write our attribute's name which we are using. This is how we write inline CSS inside the opening tag of an element. But remember, inline CSS applies only to that one element. We can't reuse it anywhere else. So inline CSS is good for small and quick changes, but not for larger projects. Now let's move to internal CSS. Internal CSS is written inside the style tag which is placed in the head section of the HTML document. Using internal CSS, we can style multiple elements on the same HTML page. See here, inside head section, we opened style tag and written our required CSS. I gave heading as the name of our selector and used color property and its value, then closed style tag. Internal CSS can be applied to a single HTML document. It cannot be applied to multiple HTML documents. Let's move to the last one, external CSS. While styling our web page, we used this external CSS. This external CSS is the most commonly used and the most professional approach. In external CSS, we write all our CSS code in a separate CSS file and then we will link it to our HTML file using link tag inside the head section, as we have done in our previous videos. This is how we will link our CSS file to the HTML file. Here we give our CSS file name as the value for href. This is a code we have written in our previous videos. First, let's discuss about external CSS because we used this type of CSS to apply CSS to our web page. Now just observe what we have done in our previous videos. We created a separate CSS file and written our CSS and linked this CSS file to HTML file using link. Now let's discuss about inline CSS. To write inline CSS, first remove external CSS. I am removing all these which we used to apply external CSS. Now let's apply inline CSS to heading element. To apply inline CSS, we use style attribute. In the value, we have to write the property we are using. I am using color colon. I am giving blue as value. This property value pair should be followed by semicolon. If we want to apply another style, we can write here. Let's run the code. See, the color of our heading is changed to blue with the help of inline CSS. Let's write CSS to paragraph element. Use style attribute. I am using color property giving red as value, as well as apply CSS to button element. Style attribute. Here I am using background color property. I am giving its value as green followed by semicolon. Then we can write another style. If you want to change the text of the button, I am using color property and giving white as a value. For button, we used two styles. In this way, we can write multiple styles in the opening tag of an element. Let's run the code. We got our required output with the help of inline CSS. With the same energy, let's learn to apply internal CSS. So remove all this inline CSS. To apply internal CSS, what we have to do? We have to open a style tag inside head section. Automatically closing tag will be created. In this, we can write our required CSS as we have written in the external CSS. Start with the dot, give a selector name. I am giving heading, open flower braces, enter. I am using color property and giving blue as value. Let's apply this CSS in the same way how we applied our external CSS. The opening tag of heading, use class attribute and its value is our selector name. Let's run the code. See, color of our heading is changed to blue. In the similar way, apply CSS to paragraph and button element. Dot, giving paragraph as our selector name, using color property, giving red as value, as well as write CSS for button. Dot button, background color, giving green as background, using color property and giving white as value. Let's apply this to HTML elements. Class, its value is our selector name. What is our selector name? Paragraph. Applying CSS to button. Class, giving selector name as value. Our selector name is button. In the code, yeah, we got our required output with the help of internal CSS. But this internal CSS can be applied to the single HTML document. It cannot be used in another HTML document. And the last one, external CSS, we have discussed about it before inline and internal CSS. In this video, we are going to understand one of the most important concepts in CSS, the box model. Let's start with a simple question. What is box model? Box model states that every element on a web page is treated like a box. Think of it as a container with 4 layers. Content. This is the text or image inside. Padding is the space around the content inside the box. The next one is border. The outline surrounding the padding is called border. The last one is margin. It is the space outside the border separating it from other elements. This is the basic structure of the CSS box model. Now let me explain this in the browser. Open VS Code. Here is the code we wrote in the previous video. Let's run it. Now right click, select inspect. Now you can see the HTML code we wrote in the VS Code. Expand the sections by clicking this one. These are the elements we used in our HTML code. When I move my cursor over the heading, notice something. The blue area shows the content area. If I move my cursor, it will disappear. So observe it. Blue area shows the content area and border is its outline. We didn't provide any padding and margin to this heading, so we can't observe padding. But this peach color area is the margin because browser provides some default margin to the elements like heading and paragraph. You can also see width and height measurements in pixels of heading element. It's showing that the width of our heading is 588.04 and height is 37.1 pixels. Now watch what happens when I hover on the paragraph. See, the blue highlight shows the content area of paragraph. That peach color area shows the default margin. That's why we see the spacing between these elements. Now let's go to the button, hover over it, and you will notice something different. The blue area is visible only where the element is present. It's not occupied the entire width of the page, because elements like paragraph and heading occupies the entire width of the page, but some elements like button occupy the width till where they are present. When I hover on container element, we can see the blue area occupied the entire elements. Means for this div, all these elements are the content, because these elements are wrapped inside the div element. So for this div element, all this is considered as content area. In simply, we can say the entire blue area represents the content space of the div. Padding and margin are not visible because we didn't add them, but some elements have default margin. Now let's observe each layer for each element with the help of visual box model. I am selecting heading element. Scroll down. Here you can see a visual box model. With the help of this, you can observe each layer clearly. When I hover inside, I can see the content area of the heading. It shows content area occupied the entire width of the page. Then padding. There is no padding because we didn't apply padding to this heading element. Now hover on to border. Border is also not visible, but it always present between padding and margin. Now move on to margin. Peach colored area is the margin. Now let's do the same thing for paragraph element. When I move cursor inside, it shows the content area. Then padding. No padding is added. No border. But we can observe the default margin. Now let's see for button. When I hover inside on the content, you can see the content in blue. When I move to padding, you can observe light green area around it. See clearly. That green area is padding. We can also observe border here. See the change when I move to border, and there is no visible margin for this because we didn't add margin. So buttons only take space around their content, not the full width. We observe that heading and paragraph take the full width of the page. So they are called as block level elements. So if we add a new element immediate to it, it will always start from a new line. But the button does not take the full width. So if we add another element after it, it can appear beside the button. This visual box model helps you clearly see content, padding, border, margin of each element. You can select the element which you want and observe its content, padding, border, margin. You can get more clarity by trying it on your own. This is all about box model. Thanks for watching. Keep learning, keep growing. Meet you in the next one. Now in this video, let's see how to apply these properties using CSS. Let's open VS Code. I am adding border to heading. To add a border, we use border property. To accept it, click enter. Its values can be solid, dotted, dashed and more. Solid gives a straight continuous line, dotted gives small dots as a border, and dashed gives a broken line. I am using solid as the value. Let's run the code. You can see a border appearing around the heading. The border stretches across the full width because heading is a block level element. You can try the same with dotted or dashed to see the difference. Now let's add padding. To add padding, use property called padding. I am giving 30 pixels as a value. Pixels are represented as px. Run the code. See, the space between the border and the content is increased. This space is nothing but padding. If you increase this value, space will be increased. Now add margin. I am giving 50 px as value. Run the code. See, margin is applied around the border and margin pushed the content inside. Let's inspect this output. Right click, click on inspect, expand this. When I move my cursor over heading, you can observe blue area represents content. This light forest green represents padding. We can observe border and peach color represents the margin. Let's apply these properties to the button. Use padding property to add padding. Again I am giving 30 px as the value. Button already has border, so no need to add border to the button. So let's add margin. I am giving 50 px as the value. Let's run the code. See, the space between border and text is increased, nothing but padding, and the space around the border is also increased, that is margin. In this way we can apply box properties to design our web page. Now let's learn how to add image element to our web page. To add image, we use image tag. We write it as img, open angular bracket, img. We use src attribute to include link of required image. I will provide this link in the description. This image tag doesn't contain closing tag because it is a self-closing tag. Let's run the code. See, the required image is added to our web page, but it came beside the button element. To place it below the button, we need to add image element outside the container. So remove it from here and place outside the container. Now let's run the code. See, we got our image below the button element. To add this image as a background to these elements or to the page, let's remove this. Go to CSS. To apply that image as the background of elements, we need to apply it to div element. So use background image property. To include link, we use URL. In the double quote, we will paste our required image link. Let's run the code. See, we got that image as a background, but it is repeated. To make it come once, we use background size and its value cover. Let's run the code. See, the image covered the entire background without repetition. To make this image as a background of entire page, we should apply this image to the body section. So create a new rule set. I am naming it as background. Let's remove image from here and apply here. Now let's apply this rule set to the body. In the opening tag of body, use class attribute and its value is our selector name background. Click tab to accept it. Let's run the code. See, we got the image as our background to the entire page. Let's remove this gray background. So remove the background, apply to the container. Let's run the code. Yeah, we got it. In this way, we can add images to our web page. In the previous video, we learned how to add an image to our web page. So far, we have also seen how to style our text. Now let's move one step forward and learn how to style a button. When you look at our target design, you will notice that the button has curved corners. To achieve this effect, we use the border radius property in CSS. The border radius property simply controls how curvy or circular the corners become. Now let's open VS Code and achieve these curved corners. This is the code we wrote in our previous videos. Now go to CSS. In the button rule set, use border radius property to achieve curved corners. When we give a value, the corners start getting rounded, and the higher the value, the more curved the button becomes. Let's give 10px. Let's run the code. See, we got a nice curved look for the button. To achieve the required design, let's add white background color for these elements. As we know, all these elements are wrapped in div element, and the rule set applied to this div is h-center. So let's add background color for this rule set, white. Let's run the code. See, we got a white background color. Now let's increase the size of this button because it is looking small. To increase the height of the button, we use a property called height, and I am giving 40px as the value. And to increase the width of the button, we use width property, and I am giving its value as 100px. Let's run the code. See, the size of our button is increased. If you observe here, by default the button has a black border and it does not match our design, and it's not looking pleasant, right? So let's remove it. For that, we use border width property. A higher value makes the border thicker. Here we want to remove the border, so I am giving 0px as the value. This will remove the border completely. Let's run the code. Yeah, The default black border removed completely. In the last video, we learned how to style a button. Now let's see how to style the background of these elements. If you observe our target web page, the top corners of the background are rounded. To make required corners rounded, we have some border properties. They are border top left radius. This border property makes the top left corner rounded, and we give required value to define roundness of the corner. In the same way, we use top right, bottom left, bottom right. Top right used to make the top right corner rounded, and bottom left for bottom left corner, bottom right to bottom right corner. Now let's apply these properties. We wrote this code in our previous videos. Before applying those border properties, if you observe our output, by default body element applied some margin to this background. Let's remove that. The rule set applied to the body is background. So in the background rule set, use margin property and give its value as 0px. You know what it will do. Let's see. The default margin applied to the background is removed. And also use height property and give its value as 100 vh. This makes the image occupy entire height of the web page. Here vh is nothing but viewport height. And there is a one last thing you need to do, that is executing our code again and again for each change will be time consuming. For that, go to extensions, search for live preview, click on the first one, then install it. Now back to our code. Now in HTML code, right click. Here you can see a option called show preview. Click on it. See, we can see our output here. Close this, adjust this one. The advantage of this one is when we make changes, we can observe them without running the code. When I update the code, output also getting updated. Now let's apply border properties. I am using border top left radius and I am giving its value as 15px. If you observe, top left corner of the background became rounded. If we increase the value, you can observe it clearly. Now let's do the same thing for the top right corner. Use border top right radius. Here also I am giving 20px as the value. See, the top right corner of the background also became rounded. In this video, we are going to discuss about something very important in CSS, that is the layout of a web page. What is layout? Layout is the design of a web page used to arrange the elements like text, images, buttons. Mainly there are two methods used to design the layout of a web page. They are flexbox and CSS grid. In this video, we are going to use flexbox because it is simple and easy to implement. This is an example of YouTube's layout, and this is how YouTube arranges its elements. Now let's discuss some steps to create a flexbox layout. First, we need to define our background container as a flex container because then it will become flexible to move elements. In the next step, we need to specify the direction in which the items should move. To specify the direction, use a property called flex direction and its value can be row or column. And in the last step, we will move our item to the required place. To move items, we use justify content property and its value can be start, center, end. The placement of the item like start, center and end will depend on the direction. When we specify the direction as row, then the item will move in horizontal direction. And if we specify the direction as column, then the item will move in vertical direction. Now let's apply these concepts in VS Code. This is the code we wrote in our previous videos. Now to design our web page, we need to make the entire background flexible. I mean, we need to make the background container as flex container. The rule set applied to the entire background is background. Go to CSS. In the background rule set, to make this background flexible, use display property and give its value as flex. Then we need to specify the direction. To specify the direction, we use flex direction and I am giving its value as column. Now the final step is to define the item's position. For that, we use justify content property. As in our target web page, we need to place the elements container at the bottom. To place it at the bottom, use end as the value. This will move the item present in the flex container to the bottom. Let's understand clearly. Now this body is the flex container and this div container is treated as flex item. So this flex item will move to the bottom. Let's see the output. As we expected, this div container moved to the bottom. And finally, we got the target web page. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Keep learning, keep growing. Meet you in the next one.